Hello and welcome to Charch Chat. Thanks for joining us here at Open Sports. I am Paul Charchian from LeagueSafe.com. Today we're going to look at some of the waiver wire guys you can pick up as we look ahead not just to this coming Week 11, but throughout the rest of the season. I've got a quarterback and two wide receivers for you, two of them from the same team, and that is the Chiefs. Tyler Thigpen. It's a heck of a story, and Tyler Thigpen's looking like a good quarterback. Since taking over the job in Week 8, he has thrown 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. How about that? 3 games, 6 touchdowns, no picks. The kid looks pretty good, and it's right now. It looks like that could very well continue. And the funny thing is, he doesn't have a running game. I mean, a lot of times you'll see young quarterbacks will survive because there's a running game to offset the passing game, and a little bit like Joe Flacco gets a lot of help from his running game in Baltimore, and that's turned him eventually into a viable fantasy starter. Thigpen doesn't have that luxury. I mean, they're running guys we've never even heard of out there, and maybe Larry Johnson comes back, and that gives even a little more juice, perhaps, to the passing game. Now, his play, just from a non-fantasy perspective, has been really good. He's played 3 good teams the last 3 weeks and put up narrow losses, and what we thought were going to be double-digit losses. 4-point loss to New York, a 3-point loss to Tampa Bay, and a 1-point loss to San Diego last week. Those are nice performances, and he's got solid receivers. He's got Dwayne Bowe, he's got Tony Gonzalez, and he's got Mark Bradley, who I'll talk about more in a second as I tip my hand as to who the other pickup guy is. Mostly, one of the things I really like about him from a pickup standpoint here is the playoff schedule is very favorable. Weeks 14 through 17 look like this: Denver, San Diego, Miami, Cincinnati. Denver, San Diego, Miami, Cincinnati. Those are all teams you can throw on. Hey, a couple years ago, Ron Dane powered people to fantasy championships by having an easy schedule at the end of the season. Tyler Thigpen could do the same thing. If you've been doing a little quarterback by committee this year, if you've been getting by with sketchy quarterbacking, absolutely pick him up and be ready to start Tyler Thigpen in the playoffs. It's a real possibility that Thigpen could be a guy who's good for a couple of touchdowns in most of those games. I already mentioned Mark Bradley. Let's get to him. Why do I like Bradley? Well, first, of course, Thigpen's playing well, and it's of utmost importance for every wide receiver, right? Your quarterback doesn't play well, you can't do a lot. But most importantly, he's getting targeted a lot. Thigpen likes him, and he's done a great job at distributing the balls to a lot of different guys, which you don't see in a lot of young quarterbacks. Bradley's been thrown to 7, 7, and 14 times over the last 3 weeks with Thigpen at the helm. So he's clearly sees Bradley. Bradley's a big-time speed guy, right? He's thin, but he's got a ton of speed. He's a big play, long touchdown threat, and a lot of scoring systems really reward that. I think Chicago, which needs all the receivers they can get, gave up on Bradley just a little bit too early, and I understand the frustration with him, but he stepped right in and become a starter for the Chiefs, and he's looked good doing it. All right, lastly, Michael Jenkins. Now, part of the reason I like Michael Jenkins is because Matt Ryan playing so well, and Roddy White always picking up double coverage and getting the secondary's best coverage guy is always on Roddy White, and that leaves Jenkins open. And what we've seen is Matt Ryan over the last few weeks, as Jenkins has gotten more and more involved in the offense, it's because Ryan is now able to read defenses and is now able to look past the first receiver and go to other options, second and third receiver. That's brought Jenkins into play a lot more often. Over the last 4 games, he's topped 50 yards in every one of those games. He had a couple of touchdowns a couple weeks ago in Oakland, trending the right direction. And, maybe not a guy you're going to start every single week, but against the right kinds of defenses that don't have a lot of depth in their secondary, he's going to make some sense, and he's gonna have some good games between now and the end of the year. So Michael Jenkins, my third and final guy. So there you go. 3 guys again: Tyler Thigpen, Mark Bradley, Michael Jenkins. Thanks for watching Charch Chat here at Open Sports. If you've got fantasy questions, send them to our fantasy department, fantasy@opensports.com. Again, the email, fantasy@opensports.com.
So you think you can tackle a pro? There's only one way to find out. Click on fantasy@opensports.com.